Hello friends. Today's story will disturb you. This isn't just another scary tale, it's something darker. A story about a house that should have been ordinary, but was anything except that. From the outside it looked small, harmless, almost inviting. But once you stepped inside, reality itself began to unravel. It started with a young family, a husband, a wife, and their 7-year-old son. They had moved to a quiet town, desperate for a fresh start. The house was cheap, too cheap for its size, but they didn't question it. They just wanted peace, and this place seemed perfect. They laughed as they unpacked, filled the rooms with furniture, and painted the walls with bright colors. For a while, life felt normal. But on their very first week, something small, something almost invisible, revealed the truth. One night, as the boy was lying in bed, he whispered, "Dad, my room feels bigger than yesterday." The father smiled, thinking his son was just imagining things. But to calm him down, he fetched a tape measure. And when he measured the room, his smile faded. The room stretched 1 foot longer inside than the house's outer walls should allow. Impossible. He checked again. Same result. He told no one. But from that moment on, he couldn't shake the unease growing inside him. Over the next days, the house began to breathe. At least, that's how it felt. Cold drafts drifted through the hallways, always at night, as though something deep in the walls was exhaling. The boy woke crying, claiming he heard footsteps pacing behind his walls. Not the creak of wood, not the groan of pipes. Actual footsteps. Slow, heavy, pacing back and forth. His mother dismissed it as bad dreams. But the father started noticing other things. The hallway seemed longer. The kitchen door felt farther from the counter. One morning, the staircase looked off. He took a step, then another, and when he reached the top, he found himself back at the bottom, as if the stairs had twisted themselves into a loop. He stood frozen, heart hammering, before running back down, clutching the banister. Then came the night that changed everything. Unable to sleep, the father wandered into the basement. He flicked on his flashlight, the beam cutting through dust and darkness. And that's when he saw it. Behind the furnace, where only a wall should have been, there was an opening. A corridor. Narrow, dark, and impossibly cold. He swore it hadn't been there before. He shined the light inside. The beam dissolved into endless black. Heart racing, he stepped in. 1 step, 2 steps, 10. His flashlight revealed only more corridor. No end, no turns. Just an infinite hallway stretching into darkness. The silence was unbearable, broken only by the sound of his own breathing, echoing unnaturally, as though the walls themselves were breathing with him. Fear clawed at him. He turned, sprinting back to the basement stairs. But when he looked behind, the corridor was gone. Nothing but solid concrete. He told himself he had imagined it. But deep down he knew. The house was alive. After that, the changes became undeniable. Doors opened to bare walls. Rooms shrank and stretched overnight. The boy refused to sleep alone, crying that voices whispered from the vents, voices that sounded angry, desperate, hungry. Sometimes, in the silence, the father heard them too. Faint, like a chorus of whispers carried on the air. Then one evening, the mother disappeared. She had grown tired of her husband's fear, tired of his silence. When he finally confessed about the corridor, she didn't believe him. "It's just this house playing tricks on you," she said. But curiosity got the better of her. With a flashlight in hand, she went into the basement. The father and son waited at the top of the stairs. At first, nothing. Then faint footsteps. Then her voice, distant but clear. "I think I see something." They waited. 5 minutes. 10. Half an hour. She never came back. The father screamed her name, but the basement only swallowed his voice. When he finally went down, the corridor was gone, the walls smooth and unbroken. His wife had vanished into thin air. From that night, the house no longer hid its hunger. The walls groaned at night. The floors trembled. Sometimes, the father swore he saw the wallpaper ripple, as if something underneath was pressing against it. The boy clung to him constantly, wide-eyed with terror. "They're trying to get out," he whispered. "The people in the walls." One night, the father woke to his son's scream. He ran into the boy's room and froze. The walls were moving, expanding. The ceiling stretched higher and higher, the corners pulling away from each other, the entire room swelling as though it were inhaling. Furniture groaned, sliding across the floor. The boy stood paralyzed in the center, his small body trembling. The father dashed forward, snatched him up, and pulled him through the doorway. Behind them, the door frame twisted, bending unnaturally, until the entire wall looked ready to collapse. That was the moment he knew there was no saving this place. But there was still a chance to save his wife. He knelt before his son, holding his shoulders tightly. "If I don't come back," he whispered, "you run. Don't stop. Don't look back." Tears streamed down the boy's face, but he nodded. The father grabbed his flashlight and returned to the basement. And there it was again, the corridor. Wider, darker. The air that flowed from it was colder than ice, carrying with it a faint, foul stench. He stepped inside. The walls pulsed faintly, like the inside of a throat. His flashlight beam flickered weakly against the endless black. Then he heard it, faint, trembling. His wife's voice. "Help me." He ran, his footsteps pounding against the floor, chasing the sound. The corridor twisted endlessly, bending in impossible angles, branching into other hallways that shouldn't exist. He tried doors that led into rooms with no exits, rooms that dissolved when he turned his head. The house was playing with him. Again he heard her. "Help me." Closer now, but never close enough. The air grew colder. His light flickered again, and then silence. The father spun in circles, calling her name. His light sputtered, dimmed, then died. And in the darkness, he felt them. Shapes. Tall, thin figures pressed against the walls, stretching out of the shadows. He could hear their breathing, could feel their eyes on him. Then everything went black. The next morning, the neighbors noticed the house was silent. No lights, no sounds, no sign of the family. Days passed, weeks. No one ever saw them again. But the house remained, and over time, people began to notice something. The house was growing, slowly, subtly, a little wider, a little taller, almost as if it was expanding outward, consuming space around it. At night, passers-by claimed they could hear footsteps echoing inside. Some swore they heard a woman screaming, others a man crying out, and sometimes the faint, desperate voice of a child. Even today, the house still stands, silent and waiting. From the street, it looks harmless, ordinary, but step inside and you'll know. The walls don't measure the way they should. The rooms stretch too wide. The halls twist too long. And if you linger too long, the house will grow around you. So remember this warning. If you ever come across a house that feels larger inside than it looks from the outside, don't go in. Because once the house accepts you, it never lets you go.